So here we go. We're just going for a little walk, Rabbit Island Beach. Hi, Wendy. Catherine. Hi, good morning. So tell me whereabouts you guys from, and yeah, to start the conversation. So I just want to introduce you to a little bit of background here. We are the northern tip of the South Island. It's called Rabbit Island. I'll tell you a little bit more about it, but so yeah, it's a bit of a interesting day today. We have very calm weather, but it's a bit cloudy and overcast. But the sun is slowly coming through, so yeah, it will be good. So quick overview. It's about half an hour walk around here. We've got a couple of internet challenges here on the beach, but we'll overcome that. We'll try to sneak through. My name is Michael. I'm a local here. I live nearby, about 5 minutes drive. Hi, good morning, Tish. Yeah, and yeah, I came here about 40 years ago from Germany, so that's my background. I started bicycling in New Zealand, and I'm still biking, so yeah, it's all good. So yeah, I'll switch around now. I'll put my glasses on as well, because then I can actually read if you have any questions. So anything you want to know about, let me know. I just want to turn the camera around now because there's a couple of locals here I want to introduce you to. Okay. Right, so that's what it looks like today. A bit of an overcast day, but the sun is coming out. So here we go. Look at that. We've got one local already want to say hi to you. So this is a local weka, we call it. It's a wood hen. They're very, very curious. I just go a little bit further down. Hello, good morning. Hello, bird. Yeah, hello. I actually can go, I think I can go closer. Let's give it a try because they are so curious. They're always out for, of course. People hanging around. So yeah, let's go towards the beach. So Rabbit Island Beach is, yeah, I did a bit of research, and Rabbit Island comes from the early settlers when they came in the 1840s. They came to this area, settled, and there must have been a lot of rabbits, as simple as that. But before the European settlers came, there were obviously the indigenous people that came about 800 years ago from Society Islands, Tahiti way, and they settled here in the area, and they called this island Moturoa. Motu means separate and roa means long. So, and they really figured that out already, because that Rabbit Island Beach is actually about 7,000 years old. It, you know, sand and you know, all yeah, sand built up over that time. Yeah, it's beautiful light, isn't it? Here, David. And yeah, and over the time, there's all, you know, around us. Look at that. That's what it looks like here over there on the other side. A couple of people walking here. But anyway, just quickly back to Rabbit Island. So it's about 8 kilometers wide. So it's about 5 miles. And it's about 17, I think it's about 17 square kilometers, which is around about 6 or 7 square miles. So it's a decent size. And as you can see, the place is really popular, especially on the weekends, with walkers and families. I mean, hello, Catherine. I have to put my glasses on again. Hello, Catherine. Good morning. Good morning. So yeah, but today I actually love that weather because it's so calm, still, but it's a bit over. Apologies, the internet connection. Obviously, I went too far towards the water. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't do much. It's really patchy here. So over there, as I mentioned before, is Nelson City, and we're looking towards the north here. That is towards north. So the sun will rise here in the east, and we will have it in the north at lunchtime. So that's the southern hemisphere for you. And over there, where the beautiful bright light is, where the kind of a mountain range goes along, that is the Abel Tasman National Park. It's probably the most popular place in the Tasman region in respect of visitors coming for holidaying, for hiking, for kayaking. It's very, very popular. But yeah, it's if you look on the Google map, we're in the northern part of the South Island, and yeah, Rapid Island is a bit of a local, how shall I say, not too many foreigners come here. It's more kind of a local place, and yeah, it's as I mentioned before, especially on the weekends, there are lots of families here, the summer season, Christmas time, but you can imagine, I mean, the population base here in the Tasman or Nelson, and you know, in New Zealand as well, is fairly small. So on a busy day, you might see kind of 50 or 60 people for the whole beach, but yeah, it's fairly underpopulated here still. So we've got the first kind of a wooden structure. Is a kind of a lots of driftwood around, as you can see, and these kinds of buildings, so to say, they come and go, and just people hang out and do that sometimes with their kids as well. We just walk a little bit further here along. So any questions you have, let me know. But Rabbit Island had been, before anybody arrived, so the first people which arrived in the region were obviously the Maori population, which was about 800 years ago. But imagine that before that, there were only birds around. It's like, you know, what we've seen before, the weka bird. They're flightless, so they can't fly because simply they didn't have any predators. That changed, obviously, when the first migrants, the first Maori came, and settlers, white settlers, they brought sandflies. Not here, we don't have sandflies in this region. They're more, sandflies need kind of running water, and they actually need a specific type of trees. They love beech trees. And also, yeah, I mean, if anybody of you guys have been to New Zealand before, sandflies are kind of a little bit of a spoiler, especially down in Milford Sound. There's lots of them. And yeah, but no, we don't have any sandflies here, which is great. I'm just walking around with my shorts. Yeah, so back to the bird life, wildlife. We didn't have any mammals. We had only two types of bats. They were the only mammals here in New Zealand. And then dogs got introduced, rats, rabbits, of course, as well. So, and that changed everything, of course, you know. And there's a kind of a problem with pest control, that we keep our local wildlife alive. I mean, you guys probably heard about the kiwi birds, you know, other weka. Yeah, David, they're very common. It's quite interesting because there are some birds, like the kiwi birds, they're really engaged, not engaged, they're really not extinct, but they're really on the edge. Therefore, some of the very rare birds, they have been taken to offshore islands. But the weka, for whatever reason, they actually survived, and they have they're big numbers, like the same with the pokaeko birds. Maybe we see one or two of them. They're another type of flightless bird, and yeah. So there's another structure here. As I said before, they come and go. Looks a bit dodgy, really. It's kind of yeah. I would be careful, especially with my kids sneaking in there. But you know, it's just fun. From possum fur, a lot of yeah. Possum is another thing. Lots of possums got introduced mainly from Australia. They eat an enormous amount of foliage every night. So yeah, there's possum fur is very good for socks. They they're used for socks and even for, you know, for sweaters and all sorts of things. So let me go over there. I don't want to go to the toilet block, but I want to go, there is a map. So hopefully the connection, I tested it before, it looked okay, but I just go to the map and I want to show you a little bit where we are, because I'm not sure about you guys, but I love maps. Yeah, that's the cool thing. So what we have here is actually the cycle trail. So this is the cycle trail. It's really a cool way where you can travel. It's about 35 kilometers from Nelson, which is over there. And you're cycling along and you got these blue markers here. You see the blue marker? This is basically a marker for the cycle trail. And you're finishing up on the other side of the trees here is Mapua, Mapua Wharf. I'm doing an online tour as well there. I've done that last week. So I'll show you on the map because it makes it a little bit more visual, especially here with the cycle trail. So this is Nelson Bay, obviously. We got Nelson City here. So this is what I pointed out before. And we are here, you are here. Isn't that great having a map, you know? And here is Mapua. So that's Mapua on that. So what's happening is this, that people jump on the bike in Nelson and then you can actually bicycling along here. This is actually an old railway line. They have converted the railway line into a cycle trail. And then you may, you know, make your way along here and along there, a few stops. And then you come to Rabbit Island. This is Rabbit Island. So there's a couple of other islands. It's Rough Island, Best Island, and Bell Island. So you can see this is basically all sand over the last 7,000 years. And it comes from this river, which comes from the mountains, Waimea Inlet, Waimea River, comes all the way from the mountains here. So yeah, it's gives you kind of an idea. And also what I like with these signs, we can actually get a little bit of information about the birds. I've seen actually a couple of oyster catchers this morning. Isn't that beautiful? The colors is just stunning. That bright red beak, it's actually brighter than that. I've seen a couple of them. Hopefully we catch up with them as well. So we have the pied oyster catcher. So they have I'm a little bit of a birdie, you know, a bird guy. Is there a bridge from the mainland to the island? Yes. No, there's no ferry. There's no ferry. What it is here, I'll show you on the map. Basically, let me have a look. That's the main highway, and I drive basically in here with my car. I live down here. It's about 5 minutes. So, and here's a little bridge. Here's a bridge, and then you're basically on the island. So it's pretty easy. But here's a ferry. That's only for bicyclists. So bicyclists come along here, they jump on a ferry, and then off they go to Mapua, which is a really cool place if you want to join one of my Mapua Wharf tours. It's full of art, it's about food and wine and so on. Anyway, what else do I have to show you here? So yeah, there's a lot of bird life. Let's see if we can spot any of those little creatures and find actually there's some more. I have to be mindful of the connection here. Let's move on to the beach again. So yeah, there's a lot of driftwood. If you look down the beach, you probably can't spot it all, but there's a lot of logs lying around. Once in a while we get big storms. We've got, obviously, north of us, we have the North Island. When big storms coming through, then you obviously get a lot of that driftwood stuff coming in there. And some of that's been lying around for years, really. And here's another one, which is pretty sophisticated. Looks a bit, I mean, I can see a really big one down the beach. We'll walk over there. So look at that. It's actually really, in respect of the children here, I still love that kind of adventurous spirits, especially on the weekends. You know, families come out, and over there, I'm not sure if you can see him, but over there, there's actually a surfer. I'm not sure if you can see the open fire on the beach. No, generally not. People usually stick to it, but no, there's no fires, because what's here? Just one thing here. That's a surfer. He has a kind of a motorized surfboard. Yeah, just that little fire. You see that? Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, so there's no. It's full. There's no fire allowed here, because what you can see here in the background. Here, paddle boards, yeah, all that range, yeah. As I mentioned before, maybe I didn't actually. In New Zealand, we have endemic plants, endemic forests. But what we have here, what you can see here, is pine forest. So what they've done from the 1920s onwards, they planted pine forest. And the pine forest is used, there's a company here, a local mill. Yes, we do have dolphins and whales. Once in a while, orcas coming in. So orcas will actually be over there. But yeah, it's not common. It's a rare occasion. Dolphins, yes, we've got bottlenose dolphins over there. When you go into the Abel Tasman National Park, sometimes I can recall one time I went out there and we had a whole bunch of them, at least 20 or 30, just following us in the boat. So yeah, there are, and I can remember a few years ago they had a big humpback whale, which was actually, it died and was actually finished up on the beach here, and they had to dig it in. So yeah, I mean, there are whales around and dolphins, especially, yeah, and also penguins. So we have we have the little blue penguins. Again, they're all around here, mainly around the Abel Tasman coast, but once in a while you come across here little penguins as well. But I haven't seen them here on the beach. Look at that. The sun is slowly coming on. Isn't that beautiful? So back to the trees. So again, this was actually planted from the 1920s onwards. And yeah, basically for commercial purpose. Yes, they harvest the pine trees. They are for commercial purpose. They grow very, very fast here in New Zealand. It's especially this northern part of the South Island. There are lots of pine forest, and they grow them in about 25 years or so, and then they were actually they mainly be used for building material, because in New Zealand we build with wood. Most houses are built with wood and with chipboard and all that. But a lot of wood is also exported. There's a huge processing plant here outside Nelson, and it's actually partly owned by a Japanese company. And we've got a big port, relatively big for New Zealand standards, in Nelson. So all these logs, they go Japan, China, Australia. So it's big business here. This is very small part of it, Rabbit Island, but I can imagine being, 100 years ago, 1920s, that this was kind of the beginning. After the First World War, I guess, they had employment issues, so they probably started to have, planting. So here's another little structure. This looks a little bit more like art to me. So it's really cool. I like that. So, but here's a big one coming up, just down the beach, a big structure. At some stage, I really want you guys I will be quiet, and I'll go a little bit closer now towards the water, and just that you can listen to the waves. Hopefully the internet will still be. Yeah, I just made it without wet feet. So it's actually the tide's coming in. We will have high tide at 11 o'clock. It's around about 9:30 on Sunday morning here. So obviously we're a day ahead of most people, especially if you're in the US or UK. But yeah, the tide's coming in, which is actually, it's quite perfect that way, because if it's really dead low tide, we have to walk quite a bit and the internet connection gets worse the further I go towards the sea. But let's toddle on a little bit further. I try to see if there's any birds. I can see actually an oyster catcher down there and a good old seagull. But yeah, let's try a little bit further, because there's a couple of really cool driftwood cottages, so to say. Sometimes I'm amazed when I see these structures, the effort people put in there. I go a little bit closer. I mean, this is pretty serious, isn't it? This is pretty cool. I just go right in there to make it. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, it almost feels that somebody has stayed here overnight, but it's pretty solid. I mean, you almost need to have a building certificate for that. It's pretty cool. So yeah. Oh, I think we might get a couple of birds down there. I'll go a little bit faster, just to yeah, and it's also nice to walk towards the blue sky. Beautiful. Yeah, isn't it amazing to having these empty beaches? Yeah, the wood is beautiful. Yeah, David. I guess, it's been treated. Who built the tent made of sticks? I don't know who built it, but it's quite funny, Judy, because I never see anybody building it here. I'm coming here once a week or so, and they're simply there. I'm not sure if they actually built them at night time, but oh, there's a helicopter coming up there. It's quite common here, helicopters in New Zealand. They often fly tourists into the Abel Tasman National Park. I'm not sure if you can see it. I mean, it's just a dot in the sky, but you probably can't see it, but it doesn't really matter too much. UFO? No, not here, not yet, but who knows? Who knows, maybe one day, Judy, an UFO, yeah. Look at that, there's an oyster catcher. Let's go a little bit closer. These guys are a bit more, you can hear the helicopters right above me at the moment. These oyster catchers are a little bit shy. They're not like the weckers, but they're like their privacy, so to say. Oh, there's a really big little tent, so to say, as Judy said, a tent, a wooden tent. Let's go towards, let's have a look at this one. Look at that, is that beautiful? I know, he doesn't like it. Doesn't like it at all. Oh boy. But yeah, the further I look at that, I mean, there are a huge amount of driftwood down there and sculptures all over the place. So it's almost like an outdoor art gallery. Yeah, there's another one, look at that. Look at that, the structure. I mean, it's almost like an architect has been involved here. That's bicyclists, the background, you see that? People on bikes. They're just, yeah, at Cook Beach, they're everywhere. Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't say everywhere, but especially in those kinds of beaches, because they really dig into the sand and go for shells and all sorts of things. Here's another one. Here's another one. Yeah. Hello. Judy, yeah, I mean, yeah, there will be some people building those structures. Um, Probably, I would imagine they're mainly families. I've seen it once in a while, to be honest, um, but not to the extent that I've seen somebody for hours and hours. But yeah, I mean, look, they probably last quite long as well, those structures. So they might have been built around Christmas time, and now it's nearly Easter. So it's you know it's very much possible that that yeah, over time it probably doesn't take too many. There's probably only a few builders around, and they build one after the next one. So I could imagine that, because they all seem to have the same kind of structure in respect of how they're designed. There's another one here, a bit more basic, but yeah, I just head on a little bit further, just do another swing here, because it's, you know, it's getting nice and the light's coming out. Isn't that beautiful over there? That is towards the west coast of the South Island, the Kahurangi National Park. There's a couple of peaks. What are they used for? You mean the wooden structures? They're basically just, it's just fun. People have some time and they start building them. And yeah, I would imagine they're not really used for anything as such, but people are just having fun. But isn't that cool too? Look at these little shells. They're all kind of washed on. Sometimes you see really quite interesting shells, and all sorts of colors sometimes. What's this here? It's almost like, you know, sometimes you get very shiny kind of things. We have all sorts of creatures sometimes as well. Sometimes fishes. I saw them in Australia, and yeah, I would imagine. So I'm still quite surprised that we're fairly on our own this morning. So there's not many people around. Yeah, let's walk a little bit. I do a little bit of a swing now again, because it's so beautiful to having the ocean just running in there, and maybe give you a bit of a listening to the waves. Hi, yeah. I go a little bit closer. Hopefully I don't get wet. Here she is. She's coming. Ooh. Isn't that magic? I mean, just the sound of the waves is so calming. It's almost, yeah, it's almost like a health retreat coming out here. So, yeah, I mean, look, if you have any other questions, yeah, there were definitely, there were actually, I actually did a bit of research yesterday, and when the early settlers came in the 1840s, they actually brought with them rabbits. They thought it's a great idea. They actually have rabbits and shoot them and eat them, but the problem was then they had no predators, so there really were rabbits everywhere. So, and especially here on Rabbit Island, that's where the name comes from, according to my research I've done yesterday. It's simple as that, yeah, that we had lots of rabbits. But to be honest, I hardly see any, because they have eradication programs and to protect plants and wildlife. Because what the rabbits do, especially here in other parts of the South Island as well, they build holes. You know, they dug into the ground, and yeah, apparently it can be really disastrous, especially for farmers. So yeah, good point. Yeah, with the rabbits. So yeah, look, I mean, if there's anything else you want to know, just put it in the chat box. But yeah, I could go on. I could go on and on and on here. It's such a beautiful day, especially it's no wind today. But yeah, I'm slowly heading back home, back to work. Yeah, it is amazing watching the rabbits, but I tell you what, it's to a certain extent, it's fine. But you know, they had really bad rabbit problems, not here, but in other part of the South Island. When I came here to New Zealand about 40 years ago, I remember there was a time the farmers really we're not happy with all that because it's disastrous for their paddocks. So yeah, but look, we love animals in general, as long as they and keep in mind those rabbits and dogs and everything else, rats and stoats and weasels, and they're never supposed to be here anyway. So the last 250 years, or if you go back all the way to the Maori population, 800 years, a lot of pests, so to say, had been introduced to New Zealand, and it must have been from the early reports from the early sailors, like Abel Tasman came 1642 and Captain Cook 1769. They actually, especially Captain Cook, he noted that the bird songs when they're anchored just on the shoreline down south, they were so loud they couldn't sleep. They couldn't sleep down there, and it must have been just amazing. There were all sorts of moa birds, sort of like an emu style. We had New Zealand eagle. We had a kakapo, carcass, all these kind of really specific New Zealand specific birds, because New Zealand was separated from the rest of the world for 1 million or 2 million years ago, when there was that huge continent Gondwanaland, which separated part Australia, part Antarctica, and the other part was South America, and no humans until 800 years ago. So it was a very specific world. Very peaceful world. Must have been paradise, except the sandflies. Except the sandflies. That's another thing Captain Cook mentioned in his similar little creatures, which are not pleasant either. So, hey, I hope you enjoyed this little morning stroll from around the world. And it's been a pleasure showing you around. I actually love this morning because it's nice and calm, and lots to talk about, and it just feels just such a beautiful morning. So you have a great weekend. Hopefully we'll catch up again for another tour. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I go back home, have a cup of coffee now, and to cheer up. And maybe we see us at another tour. Either Nelson or Mapua. I want to do some other tours as well, but I have a bit of other things to do at the moment, but I'll try to do new tours. So hey, good having you all on board this morning. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye. Sorry, bye. Just wanted to show my face. Okay, ciao, bye.